It was hot today. I'm not sure where you're watching from, but here in Sydney, where we are, it was like 40 degrees. Fortunately, we've got air conditioners. We've got lots of them. The problem is that to run air conditioners, you need electricity, and we ain't got much of that. New South Wales Not Much Energy Minister, Penny Sharp, came on TV this morning begging, asking Sydney-siders, please, if you don't have to use your air conditioner or your dishwasher or your dryer or any other electrical appliances, it'd really help us out. Have a listen.
Every small bit of action that we take will make it much easier to make sure that the grid stays on and there's not a problem. No one's forced to do any of this. We're just simply saying, when you go home tonight, if you don't need to use your dryer or you don't need to put your dishwasher on until tomorrow morning, just please do that.
Now, when I was a kid, we used to call places that didn't have much electricity the third world. These days, we call them renewable energy superpowers. She said there were two factors behind the shortage of electricity today. One was high demand, and the other was maintenance being applied to coal-fired power stations. What she didn't say was that both of those problems, Caleb, are caused by the political class. If politicians didn't keep importing so many people, demand wouldn't be so high, and if they didn't keep closing down coal-fired power stations whilst disincentivising maintenance on existing ones, then supply wouldn't be so low. But this is not the first time it's happened, and it's not just the Labor government. Same time last year, Liberal government. Here's Matt Keane.
What we want to see is if there is an opportunity for people to reduce their energy usage, so perhaps not using the dishwasher until you go to bed, that would help.
We're the most energy-rich country in the world, and yet we're having to turn our air cons off or turn them up to 26 degrees on hot days.
Well, not only do we have all the coal, we've got all the uranium as well, which of course we can't use because that's bad for the planet, apparently. I mean, for heaven's sake. You remember the Bee Gees song, The Lights All Went Down in Massachusetts? I've heard Barry Gibb is going to re-record it. The lights all went down in New South Wales. I didn't mean it to actually happen.
No, we're doing
it. Penny Sharp.
We're doing our bit of Sydney.
Penny Sharp, I think, must have just been on the phone to the control room back there saying, turn off the lights! You know, your television studios are using all the power.
No, it had nothing to do with the power. It had everything to do with you singing, and they decided, let's just shut him up, turn it off.
That is probably a good
Hide his shame.
But what a ridiculous situation to be in. As you say, we are so resource rich. We've got all the stuff here to keep the lights on. But the government, and well, not just this government, I mean successive governments, including coalition at federal level and at state level, have allowed this to happen because they encouraged, with all these subsidies, renewable over coal, which meant if you're a power company, an AGL, an Origin, you're not going to maintain a coal-fired power plant. And we're at the point now where state governments are starting to pay the power plants to keep their coal-fired plants open because they're like, we've got no energy. It simply doesn't exist. We're meant to be a first world country.
But these governments haven't just allowed it to happen, like you say. They've made it happen.
Of course they have.
We are literally at their behest, at their mercy here. And what gets me about these climate protesters that we always take the mick out of, and rightly so, they love to destroy things to try and get people on side, weird rationale. But that is the kind of unhinged passion that we, the people, should be levelling at these governments for what they are currently and certainly will in future foist upon us. We've seen it far worse throughout the UK, throughout Europe, people dying in their homes because they simply can't afford the heating, people closing their business because they simply can't afford power. We are so stupid if we don't think that it's not going to get that bad. So right now, Penny Sharp says, no one's being forced to do any of this. Direct quote. How long is that going to last, do you think? How long before we're rationed? Or maybe it'll be connected to your social credit score in future. So it's like, you jaywalked yesterday. No power for you,
The power police will come and knock on your door and say, is your air conditioner at 26 degrees? I've got to check it now.
Exactly. But it is an anti-human philosophy that these people are pushing and forcing people to believe in. People don't even believe in this. I certainly don't. And yet you're the flogs that are going to be sacrificing for it time after time after time again. This idea that humans are a cancer on the planet, we've got to have less babies, we've got to be less prosperous. Oh, we can't be having thriving economies. And you know what? Every single thriving economy is built on cheap power. If you don't have that, you have nothing. And these people know it. Our own governments. And they're playing a different tune.
And of course, this happened in Sydney today, but this is going to be a problem right around the country as summer continues.
100%.
But I think the best thing that Sydney-siders in this instance could do would be to ignore the government, turn on every appliance, make the grid completely collapse, and then people would vote out stupid governments and vote in people who would promise.
Okay, I'm on board. I'm on board. Let's start.
That's it. Can we actually turn the lights up a little bit more so we can contribute to it?
It's like, remember when they used to do Earth Hour?
Oh, my God.
I used to do Hour of Power, celebrating the Industrial Revolution. Just sit in the garage and rev the car.
The great Tim Blair, who joins Chris Kenny quite often, used to run that literally on his blog. He was promoting the Hour of Power. And when I was talking to Chris earlier, I pointed out, remember back when South Australia lost, the entire state lost power because there was one power line blew over and it short-circuited the entire renewable system. And so in the aftermath of that, they decided they needed to have some backup generation in the event that, you know, we do run out of a bit of power. And what do you reckon they opted to use, should we need that generation? Diesel generators. How great is that for the planet? So you design the system so it doesn't work properly with the renewables, and you're like, oh no, it doesn't work. We'll call in the diesel.
And then, like you said, Liz, then they come on television and talk to us like we are the problem because we're consuming.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And the thing is, we can talk about their adverseness to nuclear. We can talk about examples like that. There's so many of them where this doesn't make sense. Your big wind farms. We all know that we've already got windmill graveyards up in Queensland just sitting there. It's not decomposing. It's not nature friendly whatsoever. It's not good for the environment. We all know our solar panels come from China, filling up their pockets. We all know that that's indefinite power as well, and they end up in the ground as well, etc., and so on. It doesn't matter what angle you look at this must save the planet by shutting down fossil fuels and it's all CO2 emissions, etc., and so on. It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have to. It's all about the agenda.
Speaking of solar panels, you know, today, I mean, it's glorious sunshine in Sydney, oppressive 40-degree heat, but because of the solar panels, plenty of power while we're not at home. But the moment we get home, no power.
You know, all of this just makes me wish here in Australia we could impeach politicians, you know. You know, they do the wrong thing, let's bloody well sort them out.